Do you have a favorite pattern that you use over and over again because you've altered it and you've gotten it to fit your curves? And do you wish you could just change it up without doing any damage to your original pattern? Well, today I'm going to show you how to copy your favorite pattern to create more styles while keeping your original pattern pieces intact. The tools you'll need are poster board, a tracing wheel, a large or long-armed stapler if you have one. If not, a regular stapler will do, a staple remover, tape, a pen or pencil, a ruler, scissors, and an awl, and pattern paper. And this paper is white banner paper. You can get it from any office supply store. It costs about $7 for 72 yards. The first thing I'm going to do is lay my pattern piece on the poster board. I'm lining up the center front of my pattern piece with the edge of the poster board. That way I know that edge will be straight. And then I'm just going to tape it in place. Just a couple of pieces of tape because I'm going to staple my pattern piece to the poster board so that it doesn't move when I'm cutting. As a suggestion, if you're concerned about your pattern being ripped up when you take the staples out, you can put a piece of tape wherever you're going to put a staple, just as a reinforcement. When I start stapling my pattern piece, I'm going to start around the middle. It doesn't have to be the exact center. And then I'm just going to continue to staple all the way around the piece. The reason I said to use a long arm stapler is because this stapler will reach across the poster board so that you can staple the other side of your piece. But if you don't have a long arm stapler, you don't have to go out and buy one. You can just use a regular stapler. So what we're going to do, since I have my pattern piece laid out, I'm just going to cut the excess poster board that I don't need. I'm going to cut that off. Now all the excess poster board is cut away, so then I can continue to staple my piece. And just make sure you smooth it out and staple the other side. Now if you notice, my pattern piece is hanging over my poster board. I don't have enough poster board for this pattern piece. So I've drawn this line. So I'm going to actually have 2 pieces of poster board for this one piece. Having more than one piece of poster board is not a problem. And I've made sure this line is perpendicular to my center front. And I'm going to mark this line with my tracing wheel. Now you can do this with or without a ruler. And I like the tracing wheel that has the prongs, so you can actually see in the poster board they'll make an indent, and I'll actually be able to see where my line is. And now I'm ready to cut my piece. Now my pattern piece is all cut, but before I remove it from the poster board, I want to make sure that I transfer all of the markings on the patterns. The circle that I have here, I want to mark my waistline. I want to mark the stitching line for my dart. Any markings that you need to transfer, your notches, you want to transfer this to your poster board also. For marking the circles, I'm just going to trace that circle and make sure I push down on the pen so that it puts an indent in the poster board. I'm going to also mark my notches the same way. I've already marked this line, which I'm going to call my join line, with the tracing wheel. So I'm also going to mark my dart stitching line with the tracing wheel, and then I'll be ready to remove my pattern very carefully. When you're taking your staples out, make sure you put your fingers on both sides of the staple and then pull it out. So I just ripped my pattern piece here. I don't want you to do that. I've removed my pattern piece. I've drawn in all my markings from my pattern piece onto the poster board and also my join line. So now I'm ready to cut this join line. So now I have the top half of my pattern. But make sure you label the pattern so you'll know exactly which pattern this poster board is to. So I've labeled my pattern, and also I've labeled my join line because my pattern piece did not fit on the entire piece of poster board. Now I have a new piece of poster board to do the bottom half of my pattern piece. This time I've lined up the center front, but I've also lined up the join line edge with the straight edge of the poster board. So that way I only have to cut 2 edges. And of course I'm going to cut the excess poster board off so I can staple the rest of my piece. Now I have the bottom part of my pattern piece, my center front, and my join line. I made sure I labeled the hip and also that this is New Look 6707. Now I'm ready to show you what we're going to do with this poster board. Now I've laid down my paper and I've placed my poster board on top of the paper, and I've drawn a line here to match my center front. You can match your center front up to the edge of the paper, or if you think you're going to be doing maybe adding buttons or something like that, then you can just draw a line on your paper, straight line, and just match your poster board up to that line. And what we're going to do is we're going to trace the pattern. Now, of course, I wouldn't normally use a pen. I would use a pencil, but I want you to be able to see the lines that I'm tracing. And we're just going to trace all the way around the pattern. Now I've traced my pattern, the top part of my pattern, but remember I had a bottom part as well. So now I'm going to butt that right up against the top, and I'm going to line it up with the center front, and I'm going to continue to do my tracing. Once my poster board pattern is traced, I want to make sure that I transfer all of the markings that I need for my notches and my darts and small circles, large circles. And a good tool to use for transferring your circles and your notches is an awl. You can just press very hard around the circle or around each marking, and it will put perforations into your paper, so you'll know exactly where your notches go, exactly where your circles go. So now I have a duplicate of my pattern piece. I've marked everything that needed to be marked. Now I can make any changes to this piece that I want without it affecting my original piece. And I can use my poster board to trace this pattern as many times as I want and still keep my original pattern piece intact. Also, if you just want to prolong the life of your pattern, you can just keep this as your pattern that you use all the time and preserve your tissue paper pattern or your commercial pattern. If you plan to make changes, for instance, like moving darts, I would recommend that you remove your seam allowances. And all you would have to do is, once you make your trace your poster board, mark your seam allowances and just cut them off. So now if you want to make changes to your favorite pattern, all it's going to take is a quick trace of your poster board pattern, and you can change darts, you can change neckline, you can change anything you want to change. Just make sure you transfer all your markings and you're ready to go. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to my channel by clicking that bright yellow button, because there's more to come. Did you like this video? I hope you did, and you can let me know by giving it a thumbs up. If you have a question or comment, leave it down below, and thanks for watching.